I made a video about Attack on Titan AOE, which is Anime Original Ending, and I got a lot of responses, so I decided to clarify even more and tell you what I really believe in. I will show you right now, and I call it AOC. So yeah, let's talk about it. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Attack on Titan video about the possible ending of Attack on Titan, but not only that. Some of you accused me of not seeing the differences between the manga and the anime, and therefore I can't see the clues for a different ending. And honestly, give me some credit. After 120 Attack on Titan videos, do you really think I didn't see them? But anyway, no problem. Today, we will also talk about the biggest difference between the manga and the anime, something that none of you have mentioned, and I waited for it in the comments, believe me. So just to show you I am not biased, I will be the one to mention it right now. So in my previous video, I addressed the issue of Eren's Titan eyes in the new key visual. The reason I made that video was only to address and explain the issue behind his eyes being like that. Some of you believed that was a clear sign of a different ending, and obviously I felt differently about that, so I made this video. If you're not caught up, go watch it now and come back here because we are going to address some important issues from there. So for the people asking if I don't see the differences between the manga and anime, of course I do, and there are a lot of them, and I actually mentioned this before, but we will get to that. My main issue with those changes is that I mostly look at them as aesthetic or cosmetic changes, a more polished version of the manga. We see that in a lot of other anime adaptations. Things get added and polished all the times, but in none of those cases people claim there are signs of a different ending. But yes, I will admit that those differences when it comes to Attack on Titan tend to feel more substantial, mostly because Attack on Titan is such a wonderfully complex story, so we tend to look for clues everywhere, and believe me, I get that, I really do. I do that myself all the time. I am just like that, but I just tend to look at things from a different perspective. So no, I don't think those aesthetic differences are actual signs of a major upcoming change. But like I promised, I will tell you one difference that still makes me wonder. And by now, some of you might have guessed that I am talking about the Titan Shifter's transformation. This is probably one of the most iconic acts in this entire show, but it is completely different between the manga and anime. But still, no one seems to care about it. In the anime, we have this iconic lightning strike, which we later learn are simply the extensions of the paths. They come down to Earth, sending the Titan flesh and bones, just like Kruger described. On some occasions, the lightning comes down while the screen is spinning, which gives us again the notion of an upside-down world. And to anyone who doesn't know, the world map of Attack on Titan is indeed upside down. So all of this is great, only in the manga none of this really happens, and instead of the lightning strike coming down, the Titan transformation is a big blast mid-air. That difference, for me personally, was the main issue that seems weird and not purely cosmetic. And there was a time I believe it meant the anime and manga lived on two separate realities. But in time I started to look at it differently, as you can see in my videos over the years. I never completely changed my mind, but I did develop a different interpretation of it, and we will talk about it right now. In order to address this, I also need to address the ending and what I truly believe is going to happen to it. So from this point on, there will be spoilers only about the topic we're talking about, but if you want to stay spoiler free, save this video for a later time. So no, I don't believe the actual ending will be changed, but that doesn't mean I think it will be the same. So let me explain. In my chapter 139 video review, I gave you an extensive review and explanation of the cabin scene. I also showed you this panel of Eren and Mikasa was a bit strange, and possibly contained two different panels, which I also explained pretty logically I believe. So before I will tell you why a different ending, like for example, Eren killing 100% of people won't make any change, let me tell you what I believe in. AOC. And yes, I completely made it up, because why not? Do you think Isayama knows what is AOE? He probably thinks it is Attack on Eren or something like that. So I figured I will invent a word that reflects on what I believe will happen in Attack on Titan. AOC simply stands for Additional Original Content. Basically, what I believe is going to happen is we are going to get the ending from the manga with extra scenes, And no, I'm not talking about the extra panels because they will be there. I'm talking about completely original scenes that will be added to the anime to complement the manga. And in my opinion, they will also be a bridge for understanding the ending much better. And by the way, most of you seem to think the same as I do in the poll in the community tab. Now I'm sure some of you here are starting to get upset. Maybe you think I'm changing my mind. So let's ask younger me when he said this more than 1 year ago. If I am correct and this is the goodbye between an alternate reality Eren and Mikasa, that means we didn't get to see the actual final moment between Mikasa and Eren of our story, our reality. That scene, I believe, is going to be shown to us as an original scene in the anime. An original scene between Eren and Mikasa will not affect the ending in any way. So yeah, that was me more than a year ago, and of course, I also tweeted about it. So like I said, my opinions haven't changed, it's only the interpretation that was changed. And if you're still not convinced, check out this video from almost 3 years ago. Here, I mentioned this scene as something special and claimed that no one was talking about it at that time. I even called the video the memory no one is talking about, so even back then, I raised the idea of those two being someone different or not exactly our Eren and Mikasa, and I know for a fact a lot of people used my theory to prove there will be a different ending, which was never my intention. Sure, I was wrong about my guess of their actual identity, but I was right about that scene holding something special. So again, I felt for a while now that Attack on Titan will have some extra content. And yes, I will call it AOC. But anyway, I believe we will have an Eren and Mikasa moment for sure, and possibly several others too. I explained why in more details in this video, so go check it out next. But there is another issue I see a lot lately. People who think the ending should have been Eren destroying 100% of humanity. I also believe a lot are expecting that to be the change in the anime, so I really wanted to address that and give you my honest opinion. Killing off 80% of humanity is an enormous crime as it is. So in terms of numbers, I don't think killing 90% or 100% would make it worse, because it is already an unspeakable crime. But killing specifically 100% would have probably led to something even worse, something that Kiyomi and also Armin both warned us about. In the event of 100% destruction all around, the only thing we will get is a much smaller world. Soon on the island, new conflicts will arise because obviously some people won't agree with everything that just went down. Only in the case of 100% destruction, it means the scouts weren't able to contribute to the fight, which will make them still complicit with Eren's actions, which by the way was exactly what Eren was trying to prevent when he distanced himself from them. So now the conflicts will be much more severe, with the remaining warriors of Marley rising against the scouts once more. Eren of course will still die or will die in 4 years, so that doesn't make much difference. And if the Titan curse won't break, then his power will pass on and we will still have Titans and nothing really mattered. At the end of the day, Attack on Titan was a story about racism, world conflicts, and the everlasting cycle of blind hate. And the sad truth of this story is that you can't really wipe out hate from this world, because hate is brought upon us by ourselves. Humanity is the cause of hate, so to destroy hate completely, ironically, you need to kill every living person. So sadly, Eren was not wrong there, because where there are humans, there will be hate. And that is the sad truth of our world, and one of the biggest messages of this incredible story. And changing the ending to 100% won't change this message, so what would be the point?
I don't want that!
Thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think we will get a completely different ending? Or do you now believe in my AOC theory? Let me know what you think, and I will see you all real soon in my next video and even sooner in the comments. But until then, let me just remind you all to dedicate your hearts to humanity, inside and outside the walls.